Hey y'all, welcome to session 8, selecting a story to pursue for what happened here. This is a really pivotal session because this will dictate the rest of our class. We're selecting the story that we're going to develop further, so it's a pretty important step in the process. Take a look at the learning objectives at the top of your paper. Our essential questions are, what makes a story compelling, and how do we select a story to pursue further? I have a few steps in here to help you kind of clarify what's going to be the best story to follow up on. Our lesson is very straightforward. It's all going to live in this doc, and all your work will go right in here. So after the warm-up, we have some self-guided work that I'll walk you through here. So the first step is to tell me about a story that's important to you, that you love. The point of this is to get us thinking about like telling stories and what we really like. When we get to the self-guided work, there's a few steps. The first thing is to read an article. Choose the reading level that matches your comfort level. The one on the left is a high reading level. The one on the right is a medium reading level. You only do one of these columns for the article you choose. Then what we want to do is we want to generate a list of criteria for what makes a story compelling. If you need any help on what compelling means, pause and look it up. I want at least 4 lines of this graphic organizer done, and I give you example in the first row there. The next thing is, this is kind of some typed instruction, but basically what we're doing is in session 6, we did a quick write on 3 different vignettes. Now, basically what we're doing is we're selecting one of those things. One of those vignettes that you wrote. So feel free to read through this, but basically we're going back to session 6, pulling one of those vignettes that you think has the best chance of becoming a really cool digital story. When we select a vignette, we want to keep a few things in mind. Number 1 is what's going to be compelling to our audience. Number 2, will you be able to pursue the story? So will you have sound bites and narration, and will you be able to interview people and get images or video around that story? And then the last thing is, how will photos help transform your vignette? So if this is like a really abstract story that photos may not work very well with, it's not impossible, but it's going to be harder. So think about what story is going to kind of pair best with the format that we're using of the digital story. So if you want a quick refresher without going back to your session 6 quick writes, here's a quick refresher of the vignette prompts. And then the next thing I have you doing is a ranking procedure where basically we start by ranking what's going to be the most compelling story. Oops, I see a typo here. I need to fix this. Session 6. The next thing is, which vignette are you most interested in pursuing? And then the last is, which vignette might work best with photographs? So I'm having you rank your 3 vignettes on these 3 different criteria because it'll help you figure out like which vignette would be most suited for a digital story. So you might have different answers for all these ranking procedures, but the purpose of this is to get you thinking about what's kind of the best story for you to move on in terms of what you're interested in, what's going to be interesting to your audience, and then what pairs well with some photographs. The last thing is write up your final reflections in this exit ticket, and that is session 8 in a nutshell.